This is about the year 1914, when an 8-year-old child was playing in a village in Japan when he saw a machine running on 4 wheels. It was a Ford Model T. He was very surprised to see that. That was the day when an 8-year-old boy got his first fascination with cars and mechanical parts. His name was Soichiro Honda, the founder of Honda Motor Company. The story begins on 17 November 1906, when Soichiro Honda was born in a village in Japan named Tenri Shizuoka near Mount Fuji. His father was a blacksmith who repairs bicycles part-time, and his mother was a weaver. Honda lost 5 of his siblings while growing up due to different health issues, so his parents had high hopes for him. But he had no interest in going to school. Instead, he had more interest in repairing bicycles with his father. In 1922, when he was 16 years old, he saw a job advertisement in the newspaper of a Tokyo-based auto servicing company called Art Shokai. Honda wrote a letter to the company for the job, and luckily he got a positive reply. So Honda dropped out of school, left home, and headed to Tokyo in pursuit of his dreams. But his dream was broken when he reached Tokyo at Art Shokai. The company owner gave him all the odd jobs like cleaning and babysitting. The shame of returning home and not having enough courage to face his parents made him stay there. After a few months, the owner of Art Shokai gave him workshop jobs, as Honda was very interested in this job. So he started to easily understand everything in a few months, learned everything about every type of cars and their parts. In this time, Honda builds 2 sports cars. The first car was Art Daimler, and the second one was Curtiss. These 2 cars were built by using used car engines. The Curtiss scored the first position in the Japanese Motor Car Championship in 1924. Honda was the accompanying engineer with the racer in that race. And then on motorsport became his religion. He kept working for several years in Art Shokai and increased his experience. In 1928, the owner of Art Shokai decided to open a new branch in Hamamatsu City of Japan and assigned Honda the responsibility to run this new branch. Honda grown that branch from a 1-man operation to 30 workers. At this time, he was a brilliant mechanic and a racing car driver, so by using his ability, Honda designed a sports car for his owner which broke all the previous records and set a new speed record. By driving it up to 120 kilometers per hour, the record stood for 20 years in Japan. In 1936, Honda was involved in a serious accident. While racing, his left arm was fractured, shoulder was dislocated, and his face was damaged. After this accident, Soichiro left the racing world forever. When he got recovered from his injuries, Honda said to the owner of Art Shokai that he can't do the repairing work anymore, and proposed an idea for starting a new manufacturing company to manufacture spare parts. But Art Shokai stakeholders rejected his idea because the investors were getting enough profits from Art Shokai repairing branches, so they didn't want to take a risk. So Honda decided to open his own company to manufacture piston rings. In 1936, Honda founded the Tokai Seiki Heavy Industry with his friend Shichiro Kato and made him the president of the company. They both started the company, but they didn't have any investment to run the company, so Honda worked for Art Shokai in the day, and in the night he tried to make piston rings himself for his new company. A few months passed, but he didn't get any success. And by doing so much work in day and night, he lost so much of his weight. After a series of failures, he decided to enroll in a university to get the knowledge of metallurgy. After 3 years of hard work, in 1939, he became successful in making a piston. So no, he resigned from Art Shokai and proceeded to work full-time into making pistons. But at that time, he didn't know that his pistons had some faults. When he offered the pistons to Toyota, and only 3 out of 50 pistons were passed by Toyota's standard quality test. It was a big setback for Honda, but he didn't give up, and to understand the requirements of different companies, he started traveling around Japan and visited many different car factories and met with many manufacturers. He spent the next few years understanding the market. After getting confident in his knowledge, Honda made pistons, and the result was incredible. The pistons were passed by the quality test of all companies, and the orders began to come from all over the country. To fulfill the orders, his company hired 2,000 people. Once again, Honda saw his dreams come true until Japan joined World War II in 1941, and his company was placed under the control of the ministry. With many other companies, Honda was downgraded from the post of president to senior managing director in his own company, and things went from bad to worse when many of his employees were drafted into military services. The next 3 years were extremely difficult until in 1944, an incident occurred that dashed Honda's hopes during an air raid. His factory was destroyed by a direct bomb blast. And in 1945, after 2 nuclear attacks, Japan surrendered against America. The war was finished, but Honda had lost almost everything. He decided to sell what was left of his company to Toyota for 450,000 yen and became jobless, and Japan fell into a bad economic crisis. There was a shortage of food and gas. As a result, the transportation became very expensive in that time. Soichiro found the generator engine that belonged to the Japanese Imperial Army, which was used in war to power up the wireless radio. Forced by his habit, he came up with the idea to attach this engine to a bicycle and solve the transportation problem. This transportation will become easy and cheap. When people saw this invention, they liked the idea, so Honda found some used engines and made some bicycles, and these new bicycles became a hit and orders began to come in form all over the country. Due to high demand, Honda was running out of used engines, so Honda designed his own new engine. And for the very first time in the history, the name Honda was seen on a machine, but Honda did not have enough money to build these motorcycles on a mass level, so he wrote an open letter to 18,000 shop owners and received a positive reply from 3,000 shop owners with advance money. In next 3 years, Honda built a motorcycle, named it Super Cub, and it was an instant hit in the market that it beat the American Triumph and Harley Davidson in the market because Honda already had an interest in racing. So he decided to make a sports bike. He goes many races around the world and note down the special features of a winning bikes. At that time, racing was a marketing tool for manufacturing companies to showcase their car and bikes. After several years, Honda first sports bike was launched, which won the first prize in 1962 international racing competition. After achieving success on racetracks, Honda became famous all around the world. By the 1960s, Honda became the biggest motorcycle company in the world. And till 1968, they sold out 10 million units. He became successful by that time. But his dream was unfulfilled, which he had been chasing since he was 8 years old. The dream was to enter the car manufacturing industry. Many people warned Soichiro that it was too risky, but he didn't listen to anyone. At that time, Nissan and Toyota were the top competitors in the market, and it was very difficult for Honda to compete in the market. Honda launched their first pickup truck T360, which was failed. After that, Honda launched their first sports car as 500, but only 13,000 units of it was sold out. After many years of hard work, in 1972, Honda Civic was launched. This is the car whose latest models continue to captivate the world with their unparalleled fame and innovation. In 1980s, Honda Motors became the 3rd largest car manufacturing company in Japan, and in 10 years, it became 3rd largest in the world. Today, we see Honda name on bikes, cars, planes, boat engines, and on many power equipments, and also in robotics. After the launch of Honda Civic in the next year, Soichiro Honda take retirement from the company in 1973, and on 5th August 1991, his life journey came to an end.